Well, and I like to say, everyone's so afraid of nuclear. It's all virtual fear because nothing has actually happened. I mean, yes, Chernobyl, I know. I mean, almost 100 people died. I know it was horrible, terrible, but not thousands. Not thousands. 3 Mile Island, nothing. It didn't even get past the outer wall. Fukushima, no one died from radiation. People died from fear. 1,600 people died from forced evacuation when they didn't need to be evacuated.
Yes.
And that's sad. That's one of those consequences of being afraid and being misinformed, is that you make the wrong decisions. And it's costly both in life and in treasure.
Yeah, that's the key aspect. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I started this podcast was to, let's have some rational public policy, people.
Right.
Let's cut through this fear. Let's get to the facts, and let's find out what we need as a society to make this work. To address climate change, we need to be building nuclear, maintaining nuclear, and we need to get over this unreasonable fear. I
love MSNBC and all that, but during Fukushima and stuff, their nuclear experts were not scientists. They were anti-nuclear activists, and it's like that. They're not nuclear specialists. I mean, they're not scientists. They didn't have one scientist on except Stephen Chu, the then Secretary of Energy, who didn't know anything about waste or energy, by the way. If you have a weak regulatory authority like Japan had, you're going to have problems. Okay. But TEPCO should have known. But still, and that was, the biggest earthquake and the biggest tsunami in history for that region. And it's like, what do you expect? But even though there was radiation, didn't kill anyone, never will. There wasn't enough released. There was no one got enough of a dose. They didn't need to evacuate for 10 years. So they did it wrong. And then they shut down all their reactors. And then they imported coal and oil and natural gas to extreme measures. So that itself killed a bunch of people. They
killed more people shutting down their nuclear than were killed in the accident.
Than ever. Well, yeah, no one was killed in the accident from radiation. I mean, a big tower collapsed on someone. Okay, that had nothing to do with the radiation. And the tsunami swept 2 Fukushima workers out to sea when they died. But radiation didn't kill anyone at all. It never will. So, the one person they attributed later on was a smoker who didn't spend any real time at Fukushima, so there was absolutely no reason. But they wanted to find someone. So he died of cancer, but he was a smoker.
Yeah, so, the cancer timing was not nearly correct for the radiation from Fukushima to have caused it. The incubation time is much longer than what we saw in that case.
Yeah, it's called the latency period. There are for specific cancers that are caused by radiation. And not all are caused by radiation. I mean, you can't get stomach cancer from radiation. You can't get colon cancer from radiation. Okay, there are certain ones you can get. Leukemia. You can get thyroid cancer, but only if with iodine 131, which was not. All you have to do is not eat anything for 2 months, and then that's gone. And
you have other problems.
And And so there are different latency periods. And so when somebody comes, when after Fukushima, I remember the antis, especially physicians for irresponsibility, they came up and said all these, thyroid cancers are caused by Fukushima, 5 months after Fukushima. It's like, what are you talking about? The latency period is like 4 to 10 years. And so, again, if you don't understand the science, which is complicated, there's no reason the public is going to understand this, then you're going to make stupid decisions.
Yeah, they don't understand statistics. They do poor studies. They ignore control cases. The bias from extra screening, all of that stuff. If you don't do it right, it's going to look scary. If you start searching for cancers, you're going to find cancers because cancers are common.
Right. But we've never. I mean, all this danger and fear. All I tell people is like, look around. Where's all the people that died from nuclear? There's none. I mean, there's none. And so it is the safest form of energy there is. Even workplace injuries and usual industrial stuff like falling off a ladder. The OSHA safety record of nuclear is better than any industry in history in the world. There is nothing that approaches it. It's safer to work in a nuclear power plant than to sit at a desk trading stocks in New York City. That's ocean number. I'm not kidding. Just look up the ocean number, and that's because no one who's trading stocks cares about safety. They don't. It's not commonplace. Whereas if you're at a nuclear power plant, safety is everything. I mean, in fact, the local one here is a new rule. You can't go up and down a stairway without holding a railing. If you're not holding a railing, you'll be fired. They're very serious about this.
The Rational View is a weekly series hosted by me, Dr. Alan Scott, providing a rational, evidence-based perspective on important societal issues.